Let's start our first news with Josh Hokit, who is once again making headlines after firing back at Bisping and renewing his call-out of Alex Pereira. The drama started after Bisping defended Tom Aspinall against criticism that he has been inactive and holding up the heavyweight division. Bisping explained that Tom's absence was justified, especially after the serious eye injuries that forced him to undergo 2 surgeries. Bisping also pointed out that Tom was not responsible for the delays surrounding Jon Jones. He even defended the interim title against Curtis Blaydes to stay active before Jones eventually retired. According to Bisping, Tom is ready to return, and a fight against Cyril Gane should happen before the end of the year. But Hokit was not impressed. Reacting to Bisping's comments, Hokit compared Tom's situation to Bisping's legendary career, arguing that a real BMF keeps fighting even after suffering devastating injuries. He pointed out that Bisping continued competing despite losing vision in one eye and eventually captured the UFC title. Hokit claimed that Tom immediately told the referee and doctor he could not see during his fight, while Cyril was landing shots and had already damaged his nose. When fans accused him of blaming the victim of an illegal eye poke, Hokit doubled down. He said it was not his job to worry about fouls. According to Hokit, his job is to take a man's soul and entertain the fans. He also highlighted his rapid rise in the UFC, claiming that he started on a relatively small contract, but is now on pace to earn multiple 6 figures. And Hokit was far from finished. After Alex Pereira posted a horror-themed video with his children, Hokit somehow turned it into another call-out. Using a Star Wars-inspired message, he claimed that Alex had chosen the dark side and warned that their paths were destined to end violently. Hokit then delivered his boldest statement yet, declaring that he represents what retirement looks like for Alex Pereira, promising that fear and pain await him. Move on to another news. Islam has now fired back at Merab after the controversy surrounding the Russian flag at UFC 330. The situation began when Merab was watching the event with Nina Drama. After the main event, Islam's team displayed the Russian flag inside the octagon, and Merab immediately noticed that none of the UFC staff appeared to stop them. That clearly did not sit well with Merab. He pointed out that he had previously been told he could not raise the Georgian flag inside the octagon after a victory because it was against UFC rules. Fighters are generally allowed to walk out with their national flags, but displaying them inside the octagon after a fight is supposedly not permitted. So, when Merab saw Islam's team celebrating with the Russian flag inside the cage, he was clearly frustrated by what he viewed as a double standard. Now, Islam has responded. After arriving back home, Islam was welcomed by his family, fans, and members of the media. During an interview, he was asked about Merab's reaction and made it clear that he had already seen the video. Islam said that from the very beginning, Merab did not appear happy about his success inside the octagon. However, Islam insisted that he does not pay attention to those kinds of reactions. But he did not stop there. Islam then brought up Merab's rivalry with Petr Yan, suggesting that Yan could once again defeat him. Islam referenced their previous fight and even mentioned the Russian flag being raised inside the octagon after Yan's victory. Islam went on to say that he believes Yan can beat Merab again and finally make him stop talking. The exchange has now added even more heat to the ongoing tension between Islam and Merab. What started as a complaint over the Russian flag has quickly turned into another war of words, with Islam making it clear that he is not bothered by Merab's criticism and is backing Yan to settle things inside the octagon. Move on to another news. Merab has now responded to Islam after the recent controversy surrounding the Russian flag at UFC 330. Merab said he watched Islam's response after Islam commented on his reaction during the fight. But despite the back and forth, Merab made it clear that he has nothing but respect for Islam. According to Merab, he considers Islam a great and humble champion. He praised the hard work Islam has put into his career and insisted that his reaction was never meant to be a personal attack against him. However, Merab explained exactly why he was upset. When he saw Islam's team bringing the Russian flag inside the octagon, he felt frustrated because during all 5 of his UFC title fights, he says he was never allowed to bring either the Georgian or American flag into the cage. That is why Merab felt there was a possible double standard. But Merab also wanted to make one thing absolutely clear. He said that he does not hate Russian people. Instead, he explained that his problem is with the Russian government and its actions, not with ordinary Russian citizens. For Merab, the issue is deeply personal. He pointed to the long and difficult history between Russia and Georgia, saying that around 20% of Georgian territory remains occupied. He explained that this history of war, occupation, and suffering is why seeing the Russian flag displayed inside the octagon affected him so strongly. Merab also criticized Russian media, claiming that journalists often ask him provocative questions, but may not always present his full comments honestly. He argued that his words are sometimes taken out of context to fit a particular narrative. He then continued by criticizing the Russian government, describing it as authoritarian and corrupt, while also making claims about restrictions on free speech and political protest. Throughout his response, Merab repeatedly emphasized that this situation was never about Islam personally. His frustration, according to him, came entirely from the flag controversy and the personal history he associates with it. The situation has now added another layer to the growing tension surrounding UFC 330, but Merab made his position clear. He respects Islam as a fighter and champion, while standing firmly behind his reaction to what happened inside the octagon. Move on to another news. Colby has reacted to Ian's loss at UFC 330, and as expected, he did not hold back. Ian's performance against Islam has been heavily discussed since the fight. While he had moments where he was able to push the champion and remain competitive, he also received criticism for not being aggressive enough during the later rounds. Some fans felt that Ian needed to take more risks as the fight progressed. Others criticized him for appearing too respectful and friendly toward Islam, especially considering the stakes of the matchup. But one person who clearly enjoyed watching Ian come up short was Colby. During an appearance on Submission Radio, Colby was asked about Ian's performance, and he immediately turned his attention toward his longtime rival. Colby then launched into a brutal roast, taking aim not only at Ian, but also at his wife. Colby joked that Ian's wife had to sit in the corner and watch him get beaten up during the fight. He claimed that, for once, the roles had been reversed. He continued by making another controversial reference to the long-running rumors and accusations surrounding Ian's personal life, using the situation to mock him after the defeat. According to Colby, watching Ian lose was particularly satisfying because he believes the result exposed him on one of the biggest stages possible. Colby doubled down on his comments, repeating that Ian's wife had a front-row seat as her husband struggled inside the octagon. His remarks were clearly designed to get a reaction, continuing the personal style of trash talk that has become one of Colby's trademarks throughout his UFC career. The comments have once again brought attention to the possibility of a future showdown between Colby and Ian. The two fighters have exchanged words for a long time, and their rivalry has been fueled by personal insults, social media exchanges, and repeated call-outs. Although the fight has never officially happened, Colby's latest comments are sure to keep the tension alive. With Ian coming off a major defeat and Colby still searching for another big opportunity, this rivalry could continue to generate serious interest. One thing is certain: Colby wasted absolutely no time celebrating Ian's loss and turning it into another opportunity to fire shots at his longtime rival. Move on to another news. Umar and Song are officially set to face each other, and the tension between the two fighters is already starting to heat up. Ahead of their highly anticipated matchup, the UFC held a virtual press conference featuring both men. During the interview, Song was asked about the upcoming fight and whether facing Umar would present a bigger challenge than some of his previous opponents. Song responded with confidence. He explained that he actually believes this matchup could be easier than his previous fight against Sean. According to Song, the main reason is Umar's speed, as he believes Umar is not as fast as Sean. Song's comments immediately caught Umar's attention. Umar did not seem impressed by the prediction and quickly fired back, warning Song that he may be making a big mistake by underestimating him. According to Umar, this fight will be far from easy. He made it clear that Song should prepare for one of the toughest challenges of his career, insisting that the matchup will be much more difficult than Song appears to believe. Umar then delivered a direct warning, telling Song to trust him and prepare himself for a very difficult fight. The exchange may have been brief, but it added even more intensity to an already exciting matchup. Both fighters appear confident heading into the contest, and neither man seems willing to give the other any psychological advantage before they finally step inside the octagon. Song is clearly entering the fight with belief in his own abilities. His comments suggest that he sees opportunities against Umar and does not believe the speed or overall style will be as difficult to deal with as some fans might expect. But Umar is equally confident. Rather than ignoring Song's comments, he made sure to respond directly and send a warning ahead of fight night. Umar believes Song is underestimating the challenge in front of him, and he seems determined to prove that this fight will be anything but easy. Now, the talking is nearly over. The confidence has been shown, the warnings have been delivered, and both fighters are preparing to back up their words when they finally meet inside the octagon. This matchup is shaping up to be a high-stakes battle, with both men looking to make a major statement and move one step closer to the top of the division. Move on to another news. Islam has once again shut down retirement rumors, making it clear that he is not planning to walk away from the UFC anytime soon. There had been plenty of speculation about Islam's future, especially after his recent fight and the uncertainty surrounding what could come next in his career. Some fans believed the former champion might be considering retirement, but Islam has now addressed those rumors directly. Speaking with Ushatika, Islam reportedly made it clear that he still has plenty left to accomplish inside the octagon. He explained that he believes he has at least 3 more exciting and extremely difficult fights ahead of him. That statement immediately raises questions about which opponents could be waiting for him. One possible matchup is Carlos Prates, who has continued making noise in the division and could provide Islam with another major challenge. Another name being discussed is Michael Morales. The dangerous contender has also been building momentum, making him a potential opponent for Islam if the UFC decides to put the matchup together. But there is still a third name that remains unclear. Islam saying he has at least 3 difficult fights ahead suggests that he already has several possible challenges, or at least believes there are enough elite contenders capable of pushing him to his limits. What makes the situation even more interesting is that Islam does not appear to be talking about easy fights or simply collecting victories. He specifically described these matchups as exciting and very difficult, suggesting that he wants to test himself against the best competition still available. This also puts an end, at least for now, to the retirement speculation that has surrounded him. Rather than preparing to leave the sport, Islam appears focused on continuing his career and taking on the toughest challenges available. With Carlos Prates, Michael Morales, and another potential opponent potentially waiting in the future, Islam's next chapter could still contain some huge fights before he finally decides to call it a career. Move on to another news. Khamzat has just taken another shot at Jorge Masvidal, reigniting the tension between the two fighters. Masvidal has been openly critical of Khamzat for years, repeatedly discussing him in interviews and taking aim at different aspects of his career. From Khamzat's fighting style to his previous issues with making weight, Masvidal has never been shy about giving his opinion. Now, Khamzat has decided to return the favor. The latest exchange started after Arman was spotted training with Masvidal. Considering the friendship between Arman and Khamzat, it did not take long for Khamzat to notice the post and jump into the comments. Instead of taking the situation seriously, Khamzat went straight for the roast. He referred to Masvidal as a punching bag and added a laughing emoji, making it clear that he was not impressed by the idea of Arman training alongside his longtime critic. The comment was short, but the message behind it was obvious. Khamzat was using the opportunity to mock Masvidal and remind everyone that the rivalry between them has not completely disappeared. Masvidal and Khamzat have never shared the octagon, but their back and forth has continued outside of competition. Over the years, Masvidal has questioned Khamzat's approach and criticized different parts of his career, while Khamzat has occasionally responded with his own comments. This latest exchange adds another chapter to that ongoing tension. What makes it even more interesting is Arman's connection to both fighters. Arman training with Masvidal created the perfect opportunity for Khamzat to jump into the conversation, and he clearly could not resist taking another shot. The comment may have been made as a joke, but it shows that Khamzat is still more than willing to fire back when Masvidal's name comes up. For now, there is no fight between the two on the horizon, but the trash talk continues, and Khamzat's latest comment has once again put their rivalry back in the spotlight.